And we're back. What's up, Virginia Gap? It is me, Sister Angela, and I am here to present today's lesson to you. But before we get into it, I got a couple announcements for you, right? All right, you saw the title. We're talking about forgiveness today. So I'm super excited, and I want us to get into it really quick. So, just quick few announcements. The first person that turns in their reflection questions gets a prize. Okay, this is the correct email right here, angela.nickens at newbethelkc.org. Okay, so it will be right here so you can see it, write it down, and I'll also include it in the description box below. All right, next thing, we have some very exciting news coming up about Black History Month. Stay tuned, keep your eyes open, watch all of our social medias, and you will find out what that is. The last thing is, I'm actually the one teaching the lesson today, right? I didn't want to give an introduction of myself. I thought that'd be a little extra, so, but anyway, let's get into this lesson. All right, so forgiveness. You saw the title, you know what this is all about. Moving forward with forgiveness. It's hard. It's not our favorite thing to do, but it's one of those things that is going to bless us in the end. All right. So I want you to really open up your mind, close your eyes, open your mind, and I want you to think about a time where someone did you wrong. Okay. It could be your parents that did you wrong. It could have been one parent that did you wrong. It could have been someone that lied on you. It could have been maybe somebody started dating your crush and they knew you liked them. It could be anything, okay? I want you to get that thought in your head. Close your eyes. Get that thought, get that situation in your head, okay? Remember how you felt or maybe how you feel. And then I got something to tell you. You gotta forgive them. If you haven't already, you got to forgive them. I know it's wild. I know it's a crazy thought. It's like, dang, they did me so wrong. Like, how can I even forgive them? What's the first step? What am I going to do? Well, that's what we are going to talk about today. All right, so I want to tell you about this guy that I know. Well, I don't know him personally, but I read about him, right? His name is Joseph. Okay, so Joseph, he was really amazing. He was anointed by God. He could interpret dreams. He was favored by his father, and he had 11 brothers, right? So he had 10 brothers who were older than him, and then he had a younger brother, right? But it just seemed that he was the favorite. His dad made him a coat of many colors. His dad just seemed to love him a little more than the other brothers. But I mean, he still loved them, right? But he just seemed to be the favorite. So Joseph used to have these dreams, right? One day, the dream that he had consisted of his brothers bowing down to him, right? So his brothers are already like, we don't like this little boy. He younger than us. He already like he we bow down to you. How dare you say we're gonna bow down to you? You know. So he had a dream like that, and so I guess that was the dream that really pushed the brothers over. They were just over Joseph. They were jealous of him. They were like, look, we gotta do something about bruh, right? And so one of the brothers suggested they kill him. And the brother Reuben, he said, no, let's not kill him. We don't want that on our hands. Let's just throw him in the pit, and whatever happens, happens. That's basically what he was saying. And so the other brothers was like, all right, we throw him in a pit. So they took his coat of many colors and pretended as if he got killed by something out in the wilderness. Okay, so this pit is out in the wilderness and whatever. So Reuben, he walks off, he's minding his business or whatever. And then the rest of the brothers are still there, and they notice there were some Ishmaelites on their way, right? So the Ishmaelites are coming, they're not really paying attention to them, but Joseph's brothers is like, hey, we got a proposition for you. So what they did was they offered to sell their brother to the Ishmaelites as a slave. And so that's what happened. Reuben came back. Joseph was gone. He's like, where's Joseph? Well, we sold him as a slave. They didn't know where he went. Joseph became a slave somewhere. They didn't know what to tell their dad. They know he's the favorite, whatever. So finally somebody came up with the idea, hey, this is what we're going to do. All right. We are going to tell dad that something ate Joseph. We have his coat. We're going to dip it in some goat's blood. Take it back to dad. He going to believe that Joseph was killed, right? Okay, that happened. So fast forward. All right, so Joseph ended up going to Egypt. That is where he got sold to this man named Potiphar. Okay, so Potiphar, he saw that Joseph was favored by the Lord, and he saw that there was something different about Joseph that wasn't like everybody else. And so he was like, you know what, I'm gonna make him ruler over things in my house. So Joseph, he was doing that. He's an honest man. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of God. Mind you, I forgot to tell you guys how old Joseph was. He was only 17 years old, right? When he got sold as a slave, by his brother. So he was a young man. He wasn't up in age. He was 17, right? Maybe some of you out there are 17. Imagine getting sold by your own family to some randoms. You know what I mean? Crazy, right? Something you're going to have to forgive them for. But at that moment, you probably are not thinking about forgiving them. Whatever, right? So, Potiphar let Joseph be ruler of everything in his house. So Joseph was fine. Okay, the Bible mentions that Joseph was a good looking man. Okay, they wouldn't mention it if it wasn't important. Okay, I'm telling you. So Potiphar's wife, right? She was like, "Oh, Joseph, you cute. You is cute." So she was trying to come up on him, right? She was trying to talk to him, whatever. Use your imagination. The Bible has so much drama and scandals. Like, if you really want to get into some real scandals, read the Bible. It's all up in there. This is found in Genesis. Genesis 37 is where this story starts, and then we continue to move on. But I'm gonna drop little notes to tell you where everything is. Okay, so don't try. I got you. All right, so Potiphar's wife is pushing up on Joseph and trying to seduce him and all of that. And so Joseph is like, yo, you're my master's wife. I can't do this. He probably threw a little sis, you my master's wife. I can't. What do you mean? So, Joseph refused her, yet she kept coming on to him. She really wanted him. He was fine, okay? So she was like, okay, whatever. He's not going to take me. So she pulled off his coat. I don't know what everybody got a thing with Joseph and his coats. It's so weird. But anyway, she took his coat, as he ran off, because he was like, I'm not about to get caught. I didn't do nothing wrong. Sis trying to get me in trouble, So she pulled off his coat. And she lied to her husband and said, hey, your servant that you hired, your slave or whatever, he tried to come on to me. So Potiphar believed his wife, and he had Joseph thrown in jail. So while Joseph was in jail, there were a couple of guys in jail with him. One was a cupbearer, the other was a baker. Okay, so these two individuals, Joseph got to know them. They got cool or whatever. And then they were having dreams. Both of them had two separate dreams. So the cupbearer, his dream basically meant that he was going to get out of jail in 3 days. And he was going to be right next to not Potiphar. He was going to be right next to Pharaoh, serving him once again. Okay. The other person's dream, the baker, his dream meant that he was actually going to die. Okay, making a long story short, there's more to it, but like I said, get into this Bible. I'm telling you all kind of stuff, right? Just get into it. The one that did live, he ended up being Pharaoh's cupbearer. So he was right next to Pharaoh all the time, but he forgot about Joseph. He forgot about Joseph for 2 whole years. It was 2 years. So once those 2 years were up, Pharaoh had a dream. And that's when the cupbearer remembered Joseph. So Joseph was summoned to come up. He was like, hey, there was a man in jail, and he interpreted my dream, and he was correct about it. And so I think he'd be the perfect person to interpret your dream, talking to Pharaoh. So Pharaoh is like, okay, let's get him out of jail. Gets Joseph out of jail, right? And Joseph tells him what his dream means. He said, Pharaoh, your dream means you're going to have 7 years of plenty, of bountifulness, and then you're going to have 7 years of famine, where there's going to be a drought in the land, and there's not going to be any food, there's not going to be any crops growing. So you really need to, prepare for the downfall, right? And so this famine actually ended up hitting the entire land. So there was 7 years of bountifulness, like Joseph said, which God gave him the interpretation. Joseph didn't just come up with it out of nowhere. God gave him that interpretation because he was favored by the Lord. And he had a very close relationship with God. And so once he let Pharaoh know that, he decided to take 1/5 of all the crops and things and put it away to save it for those 7 years of drought. So 7 years of drought finally comes, right? Guess who come rolling down to Egypt? Just guess. If you don't know, just guess. I'll wait. Yes. Joseph's brothers. But not all of them, just 10. The brothers found out that they could go down to Egypt to get some food to nourish their families and stay alive was through their father Jacob. Jacob got wind that in Egypt there was a supply of food that you could go purchase and bring back to your family. So he let his sons know that, and he was like, you all go ahead, all 10 of you, but I'm keeping Benjamin with me. Benjamin was the baby. Benjamin, he wasn't going to let Benjamin go. Okay, he had Benjamin in his older age. He had Joseph in his older age by the same mom. So like they were his top two. You know, Joseph was like number one, and then Benjamin was like a real close second. You know what I mean? So he was like, I'm not letting Benjamin go. You all go get the food and come back. So the brothers get to traveling. They're on their way to Egypt. And when they get there, Joseph immediately recognizes them, right? They fall on their faces because Joseph is of high rank there. So they fall on their faces in reverence, like, we've come to get food. They don't know who Joseph is at this point, right? They have no idea. So they bow down. Who said they were going to bow down? In whose dream? You was listening. Okay. So yes. So in Joseph's dream, when he was 17, he said he had a dream that they would bow down to him. And they're bowing down to him. However, they don't know it's Joseph. Okay. So Joseph is treating them like complete strangers. He gives them their food, but he gives them their money back. But they don't know he gave them their money back. The money was like in the bottom of the bag or whatever. And so he gives them their money back because they're his brothers. At the end of the day, yeah, they did him wrong, but he's like, that's family, that's blood. I got to take care of my family. So he puts the money back in their bags and gives them the supply of food that they were going to pay for. And he told them that he was like, you guys are spies. I know you're spies. And he asked them about their family. He was like, is your father alive? Do you have any more brothers? Like he didn't know the answers, right? And so he was like, you're spies. He was like, I'm going to keep one of you, and I want you guys to bring the baby boy back. So they had to get Benjamin. Daddy was holding tight to Benjamin, remember? He didn't want to let him go because he was fearful that what happened to Joseph was going to happen to Benjamin. So he wasn't letting Benjamin out of his sight, right? So Joseph is demanding, again, brothers don't know it's Joseph, right? So Joseph is like, you bring him back, I'll believe that you're not spies. Otherwise, I'm going to believe that you're spies. So I'm going to keep one of the brothers. He kept one of the brothers with him. And then he sent the other 9 on their way. So there's one brother in captivity. The other 9 are on their way home. And they tell Jacob, which is dad, everything that happened. Again, they don't know this is Joseph. Okay? So Jacob is like, no, you're not taking my son. Like, if something happens to Benjamin, I know I'll surely die. Like, he knows he's gonna die. His heart can't take it. So he's like, if something happens to my youngest, I'm gonna die. Y'all can't take him with y'all. And eventually it got to the point where all of them would have died because they was gonna starve. They was gonna die of starvation. And so he was like, okay, take Benjamin if you must. So they go back with Benjamin and they go see Joseph. Joseph had to run away. He could not keep his composure. He was like, these are my brothers. That my baby brother. You know, he cried in another room. Washed his face, came back out. He brought them food. He set up a meal for them and everything seemed as if it was going well. He still hasn't revealed who he is to them just yet. And so they have this dinner. Benjamin's plate was stacked up high because he's like, this is my baby brother. I gotta hook him up. So he got him a lot of food and whatnot, you know. And yeah, so they're enjoying their meal, or whatever, but they're still on edge. Like, is this dude gonna let us go? What's going on? So they pack up to leave. Joseph tells one of his servants to put his scepter. I'm sorry if that's not what it's called, but it's like what he drinks out of, to put into the youngest one's bag, right? And everybody else is free to go. I mean, everybody is free to go. But then before they could even get out of the city, Joseph sent for them, and he had someone check to see who had the scepter in their bag, and it was Benjamin. And so he said whoever had the scepter had to come back. So they all came back and was like, there's no way we can leave without our little brother. Take me instead. They were just like, no, our father will surely die. Blah, 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 blah. So Joseph, in Genesis chapter 45, okay, this is when Joseph finally broke. He broke down. He was like, okay, I'm Joseph. I'm the one that you sold as a slave. Okay, it's me. And the brothers was in shock. They were like, what? Like, what? Like, you in charge now? Like, what in the world? And so he told his brothers, he was like, don't be upset at yourselves for what you did. He was basically saying, what you did for evil, God made it good. And not to be upset with themselves. And he just had to forgive them. Like, yeah, he was giving them the runaround. He was, because, I mean, he at this point, he's upset. Like, these boys really sold me as a slave. But as he thought about it, he was like, what they meant for evil, God meant for good. Like, all of this was for the purpose of the Lord, to give God glory and to save the land, to save the people. Like, he had to go to Egypt in order to interpret the dream that Pharaoh had in order to save the land. So had he never went to Egypt, everybody would just died, right? So it was all a part of God's plan in the first place. So he had to forgive, because he was like, if it wasn't for y'all selling me here, I wouldn't have this high rank. You know what I mean? So it ended up being a blessing in disguise. And so that's what's so beautiful about God. That's what's so amazing about him. Like, some super tragic things can happen to us, and where we feel like we can't move forward and we can't go past this point in our lives, but he's the ultimate planner. You know what I mean? Like, he knows exactly what he's doing and why. Like, even when we're going through something so devastating that we feel like we can't get out, we can't get over it, it's a part of God's plan. And so whoever hurt you along the way, you have to forgive them. You have to, because it's just a part of God's plan. You have to forgive them. Like, I know it's hard, but you have to move forward. Like, had Joseph just stayed there in that place of unforgiveness and not forgiving his brothers, who knows what could have happened. Like, I'm sure he wouldn't have been at the rank that he's at. He had to let stuff go and move forward with his life. And that's what we have to do. Move forward and forgive. Okay, I know it's hard. Never is forgiving easy. Like, one time I was dating this dude and I thought he was fine, right? And we used to kick it together all the time. We had a good time. Like, that was my guy. Come to find out, he was cheating on me. But I had to forgive him. I couldn't hold that grudge. Like, I was mad. Okay? And he had the little girl messaging me and stuff. We're not going to get into it. I forgave him. Hallelujah. I forgave him. But I'm saying, like, there's things like that happens in life to where if you hold on, you're just going to be bitter. You're just going to be upset. You're just going to be causing yourself more harm. Forgiving is not for the other person. It's for you. It's really for you. And so, a lot of times, we want to forgive, but we just don't know how. Like, how do we forgive? Okay, so one of the ways we forgive is by first remembering that we need forgiveness ourselves. At the end of the day, you've done something to somebody that you need forgiveness for. Or you said something to somebody that you shouldn't have said. We need forgiveness. We sin daily. We're sinners saved by grace. So we need forgiveness. So that's the number one thing to remember. Like, how dare you not forgive when God has to forgive you? When God has to forgive you every single day, right? That's number one. 2 is loving the ones who did us wrong. I know it's hard. It's super hard, but that's something we have to do. You have to love them. It might take you a little while, but you eventually have to get to that point, okay? And then 3, not seeking revenge, okay? Because God is the ultimate avenger. Like, he's the one that's going to take care of it better than you ever could. Okay, you might have thought you get back at them, make them feel what you felt. That's going to be nothing compared to what God's going to do, right? He's going to make it to where your enemies are your footstool. I don't know if you guys have heard that saying before, but he's going to make it work. Like, literally, that's what happened to Joseph. Like, his brothers were his enemy, and they ended up having to bow down to him. Like, who comes up with a better revenge plan than God? You know what I mean? So, but God, God didn't do them harm. He just, you learn your lesson, don't do it again. You know what I mean? Just a little tap, and they're moving forward. Even the brothers had to move forward, right? Okay, so lastly, 4, get counseling. If you're having a hard time doing this on your own, forgiving someone on your own, and the hurt is so deep to where every little thing that you think about triggers it, you get counseling. Get somebody that can help you. Get somebody with some wisdom that's going to help you walk through those steps of forgiveness, because you cannot continue to harbor unforgiveness in your heart. You can't move forward. You'll be stuck. You'll be stuck in park in your Corvette. You'll be stuck. So you have to move forward, okay? Moving forward, you need all of this. So make sure, if you can't do all that on your own, that you get help. Seek wisdom, seek counseling from someone who's going to really help you and give you good, godly wisdom, all right? So, here we are. Oh, I did want you to read Romans 12 and 19. I don't have my Bible open to it right now, but I want you to read that on your own. I want to share with you some of the benefits of forgiving, okay? 1, healthier relationships. 2, improved mental health. At this time, 2020, last year, 2020, we all had some mental health issues because we were learning a new normal. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, you it helps your mental health when you forgive. Less anxiety and stress, lower blood pressure, less symptoms of depression. All of these things happen when you forgive. These are the benefits of forgiving. You get a stronger immune system. Like, how did you know that something spiritual can affect you physically? Like, if you don't forgive somebody, your body is creating sickness in it. Like, you have to forgive. You have to let it go. All right. Improve self-esteem. It makes you feel better about yourself when you forgive. And yeah, so those are the top benefits of forgiving. So if you have somebody that you really need to forgive them. Let it go. Just like Joseph did. Let it go. Let it go. It's not worth holding on to. Let it go. Okay. So again, moving forward with forgiveness is not only going to help your spiritual life, but it's going to help your physical life as well. So make sure you are doing that. Okay, so I want you guys to read Colossians 3 and 13. If none of that, what I just told you, helps you with forgiveness, you still like, I'm still holding a grudge, I don't care. Let me read this to you, okay? All right, Colossians 3:13. Bearing with one another, and above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. All right, so you want to make sure you forgive and you love. I know it's hard, but you can do it. You can get there. Come to me. I'll help you. I've had issues with forgiving. I still have people I need to forgive. Forgiveness ain't something that you do one time and you done. Forgiveness happens all the time because people offend you all the time. So I find myself constantly having to forgive people, constantly having to move forward. Because if I don't, I'm gonna get stuck. If I don't, I'm gonna get sick. If I don't, it doesn't do me any good holding anything against anybody. Yeah, they might have did me so wrong, so wrong, but I can't hold on to it. It's not doing me any good. Okay, so that's the end of our lesson. It is now time for reflection. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and read the question since I'm here. Why not? Okay. Question number 1. What happened to Joseph? Go ahead and pause and write it down. Remember, the first person who responds with the correct answers will get a prize. And I'm going to put my email right there. see it? Yes, that's my email. All right, number 2. Why is it important for us to forgive? And number 3, think about someone you need to forgive and write down the first step you will take in forgiving them. Number 4, list at least 3 benefits of forgiving. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I hope you really got something out of it, and I pray that you really apply it to your life. Forgiveness is something that we should practice on a regular, just letting things go and letting God take care of it. So I really hope this blesses you. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye. Hey teens, what's the tea? We're looking for all seniors that are a part of Bridging the Gap Ministries. We are looking for you, seniors in high school, that is. What we want to do is recognize you. So just send me an email at angela.nickens@newbethelkc.org. All right. I will give you further information from there, but we really want to hear from you and we really want to recognize you. Thanks. I'm going to read that one more time because it was a little choppy. Okay. And number 4, list 3 benefits of forgiving. I'm going to do it again. Number 4,